North Korea's neighbors consider risk of war. North Korea's neighbors consider risk of war. Rising tensions between Pyongyang and Washington have sparked two key questions in the regional media: will there be a war, and what should be done? In China, there are fears that armed conflict is possible, with state-run paper China Daily saying yesterday that the threatening rhetoric from Pyongyang cannot be taken lightly. Newspapers are discussing how to prevent such a conflict, as well as what to do if prevention efforts are unsuccessful. The past week has seen China reiterate its earlier call for a dual suspension deal, that Pyongyang freeze its nuclear and missile tests in exchange for Washington and Seoul halting their military drills in the area, and media are echoing this demand. Sanctions alone may not easily bring Pyongyang to its senses, says the China Daily, describing such a deal as a starting point for de-escalation. But if conflict were to occur, today's edition of the party-owned paper Global Times lays out what it thinks China would do. It says that if North Korea attacks Guam, China will remain neutral, but adds that if the US and South Korea attack North Korea, China will resolutely intervene to prevent that. Meanwhile, in Russia, the risk of conflict is being played down. It is important to emphasize that North Korea threatens to strike areas in the ocean located 30 to 40 kilometers away from U.S. territorial waters and not the waters themselves, which would have been a direct declaration of war, the influential business paper Vedomosti says, citing expert Vladimir Krustalev. But it adds that if such an attack happens, the US would be responsible for any escalation. The US may make a decision regarding the preventive strike on the basis of false interpretation of the provided technical intelligence information, even in a situation when Pyongyang does not even really plan such a strike, it says. South Korean media are much more anxious. The influential paper Hankir says that even a small miscalculation could potentially escalate into an unplanned clash. The Chosunilbo, another key daily, worries that Seoul is being sidelined in the spat between Pyongyang and Washington. It hopes that Seoul will have a say in any US plans, but adds that this seems to be a tall order. There is similar pessimism in the Japanese media, with the paper Asahi Shimbun maintaining that the rhetoric from both sides is increasing the risk of war. Meanwhile, on Guam, Governor Eddie Bazikalvo has urged calm. "I want to reassure the people of Guam that currently there is no threat to our island," he said in a post on Facebook. BBC Monitoring reports and analyzes news from TV, radio, web and print media around the world. You can follow BBC Monitoring on Twitter and Facebook.